this video, I'm going to share 7, that's right, 7 tips for traveling abroad while living with multiple sclerosis. I'm going to tell you about the do's and the don'ts of traveling to Europe. And of course, I live with multiple sclerosis, I live with MS, and this trip that I'm going to reference my experience and learnings from was 7 years ago. I had been diagnosed, I think at that point, for, 5 years. And it was kind of interesting. So let's dive into those tips. Before I do, I just do want to share with you that I'm Jen DeTracy. I'm the founder of Women Thriving with MS. This is the Women Thriving with MS YouTube channel. If you want to get these travel videos or videos about thriving with MS, then be sure to subscribe and hit that bell for notifications below so that you can be informed when the next video comes out. So 7 years ago, I went to Spain and to Greece. And at that time, I was uncertain, how would that be for me to do this traveling and manage my energy and my capacity? And it was a big question mark. And I learned a lot. So first of all, tip number one, don't bring too much luggage. Of course, if you are only going to one location and you're going to have your big, huge suitcase and it's just going to be open at wherever you're staying, fine. For me, what happened was that my sweetie and I flew into Barcelona. We stayed there for about 3 days, then went to my daughter who lives at the time lived in Tarragona, Spain, and then flew to Thessaloniki, and then flew to Athens, Greece. So Thessaloniki, Greece, Athens, Greece. So that's 4 locations, and that was over about a 4-week period. So when you have a lot of luggage, that can be a challenge. And this will take you to the next tip in a way as well, or actually it's a couple tips down. Having a lot of luggage is a big responsibility. Obviously, there are certain things that you might need to bring, and as you get to travel more, you can determine what's really necessary. And a factor included in that is what time of year you're traveling. So in the case with that trip 7 years ago, I was traveling at a time when it was a little bit cold because it was March, and then going until mid-April, so mid-March to mid-April type of thing. So in that case, I needed warmer stuff and I also needed lighter stuff. And that's what's happening on this trip too. So it's a balancing act, because when I get there, it's only going to be 6 degrees Celsius, which will feel like 2 degrees, which is very different from where I'm living in Montreal right now, which is on Eastern Standard Time. So these are considerations. So I need to have long sleeve shirts, I need to be able to layer up, and then I need my summer dresses and t-shirts and jackets and that kind of thing. So it's a balancing act, but I like to make sure that my suitcase weighs a lot less than the maximum weight allowed, which is 23 kilograms for one suitcase, which works out to 50 pounds. Tip number 2 is don't wait until you have to go to the bathroom to go to the bathroom. So when I'm thinking about this, I'm always, as a person who lives with MS, I'm always wondering, no matter where I go, whether it's overseas or on a plane or just in my neighborhood, I'm always wondering where the closest bathroom is. I need to go to the bathroom fairly often, so I want to ensure that I have a plan. I always go to the bathroom right before I have to get on the plane. And in fact, when I do get on the plane and they call for children and elderly folks or people with, needing assistance, that's when I get on the plane. It's a little hard for me to stand for a long period of time in a lineup and then a long time on the plane. So I like to get on there as quickly as possible. That means that I need to get to the bathroom before they start calling people on the plane. So I keep track of that very closely. I just dash off to the bathroom. Doesn't matter whether I have to go or not. I do it because I don't know when I'm going to be able to pee on the plane. So that's the key. And then once I get on the plane, I like to ideally have already booked my seat in advance so that I'm sitting close to the bathroom, but not so close that I have a huge lineup of people waiting to go to the bathroom. That is not fun, to have all these people standing around you the whole time that you're flying, that everybody's allowed to use the bathroom. And if you traveled before, which many of you I'm sure have, even if you haven't gone over to Europe, you know that until the safety belt light goes off, you cannot get up. And so as soon as that light goes off and the plane has already taken off and it's stabilized in the air, I'm beelining it for the bathroom before anybody else does. From my experience, when I'm on a plane, I notice that the beverage cart comes out fairly quickly after the plane stabilizes, after they have given out the headphones for people that need them and anything else that they're selling. Then the cart comes through with snacks and beverages. So I want to avoid that, because very difficult once the cart comes out and the flight attendants are pushing it to get to the bathroom. So I beeline it to the bathroom as quickly as possible. For me, I'm basically going to the bathroom every hour to hour and a half, maximum 2 hours. I will be on a flight for 7 hours and 15 minutes, so I'll likely go to the bathroom about 5 times during that flight, give or take, depending on what my needs are. I'll always go to the bathroom before I really need to go. I'll never leave it to chance. If you are a person who knows that you absolutely have to go to the bathroom when you have to go, you will want to consider wearing a pad. I remember meeting a really amazing guy named John many years ago, early on in my diagnosis, and he used a walker to get around, and he used to be a race car driver before living with MS. He told me that he was on a plane and he couldn't get up because there was a lot of turbulence and he couldn't hold it and they wouldn't let him go to the bathroom, and he peed himself. So be sure to wear a pad if you're ever concerned about that. No one can see it. It's in your pants. It's not a big deal. Take care of yourself so that you don't have extreme discomfort. That can be horrible. Tip number 3. Don't stay in your seat too long. So if you're not a person that needs to go to the bathroom a lot, or if you have a pad on, you're not going to get up as often, you still need to get up and stretch. That's part of the reason I like to go to the bathroom. My body gets uncomfortable, it gets sore. I kind of stretch and move around and do stuff, and people kind of think I'm crazy on the plane. I might do a little bit of stretching. The bathroom gives me a chance to get up and move my body for a little bit. Like I said, about 5 times, maybe longer, maybe more often if I want to. So having that opportunity is really important. You want to be able to stretch out your body. 7 hours, 15 minutes, 7 hours and a half, plus the time it takes from the time you get on the plane and you're waiting for it to take off to the time that you land and get into the gate can be a long time to sit. If you have spasms or muscle discomfort or your back starts to hurt, you want to get your body moving. And there are exercises you can do even in your chair to stretch and move around. You might want to check out a video on YouTube to see what plane exercises, stretching exercises you can do to make sure that your body is comfortable. So tip number 4. I recommend, if you are traveling to a time zone where it's a significant difference. So in this case, in Greece, from where I live right now, Montreal, Canada, Eastern Standard Time, it's 7 hours. Before, when I was on Pacific Standard Time, it was 10 hours. Whoa! And I really struggled with jet lag. It was really hard for me when I got there, and the transition really took about a week and a half, which is a long time. They say 1 hour a day. It took me probably 1.5 times that to adjust. So in my case, I was away for 4 weeks, and that worked perfectly. On this trip, I will be away for 70 days, and that will help me really adjust to the 7-hour time zone. And by the time my daughter comes to visit me with her boyfriend, her fiance in Greece, the great news is I will be totally adjusted to the time zone because they'll be visiting at the end of the trip. And I purposely have planned it that way. It just worked out perfectly. because I know that when I'm adjusting to that time zone, I'm a basket case. I can't really keep it together as much as I would like to. And when you're visiting with people you haven't seen in a while, it's pretty special. You want to be present. You want to have the energy and the capacity to do that. So that's what I have planned, and I'm super excited about that. Tip number 5, don't risk trying to find your accommodation. So when the plane lands and you might be taking a cab or a bus to get to your accommodation, if you think you know where it is, you probably don't. When you're in Europe, there's windy roads and numbers of hidden places. It was so funny, actually, because when we got to Barcelona and we were dropped off, I think we actually walked. We took a bus and then we walked a little bit down a hill with our luggage. And we got to a number and we're like, could this be it? There was no, we were like, this can't be a hotel. There was like a tiny little number on the door. It's like in Europe, there's these mystery places that you wouldn't even know are accommodations. The key with tip number 5 is that when you are going to your accommodation, just take a cab and make sure that they get you to the right place. And maybe they just stick around for a few minutes to make sure that you're at the right location. They know the city best, and they're going to be able to deliver you to the right place. Number six, don't assume there are elevators. For example, when we got to this first location in Barcelona, we discovered that there were at least 2 very long flights of stairs up, no elevator, just to get to the main check-in desk. It was that kind of setup. It was crazy. And that was a good reason not to have a heavy suitcase. When there are elevators available, and when you're researching, they may say there's an elevator available. However, those elevators are very small. They might be enough for 1, maybe 2 people to squeeze in with small suitcases. You might be able to fit a regular wheelchair in there with a suitcase. You might be able to fit a walker in there with a suitcase, but not a scooter, and probably not a power wheelchair. So these are factors that you need to consider unless you're going to a totally mainstream hotel that's very expensive and has more typical North American size elevators. So definitely make sure that you check that out before you go. That was a lesson I learned on the first trip. And tip number 7, don't sleep all day. When you have jet lag and you get someplace, you want to, as quickly as possible, get onto the same time zone that they're on. Now, it's going to be rocky at first for sure. When we got to Barcelona, Spain, we slept for about an hour. I had about an hour-long nap, and then we got up and we went for a late dinner. Trying to get on that schedule will make a big difference with that adjustment. It's definitely hard at first, but if you were just to sleep in the way that you would in the country of origin, on the time zone that you're on, it's going to take you longer and longer to adjust to that. Consider that, again, it's 1 hour a day technically. So if I'm going to a time zone that has 7-hour difference, we're looking at a week, I'm going to basically assume that it's going to take me a week and a half to 2 weeks to get to my normal fatigue baseline. So consider that. So here we've talked about the don'ts and the do's. So don't bring too much luggage. Make sure that you go to the bathroom before you get on the plane, and frequently when you get on the plane, as soon as that light goes off for the seatbelt telling you you can get up. I like to have an aisle seat. That makes a big difference in terms of getting in and out. Number 3, don't sit in your seat too long. Get moving around. Number 4, be sure that you stay in a place, if you're going abroad, for at least 3 weeks so you can adjust and enjoy yourself. Number 5, let someone help you that knows the city tell you where your accommodations are so that you're not confused and looking around and getting lost. Ensure that there is an elevator. If you need one, do not assume. And number 7, be sure to sleep for short periods of time until you adjust to the time zone. Now, obviously, you're going to try and sleep all night on whatever time zone you're on, but you're going to be waking up and you're going to get up and you're going to have energy, or you're going to feel really tired during the daytime and then awake at night when it's time to go to bed. So just try to adjust to that time zone. And if you have to sleep during the daytime, sleep for small chunks of time and then get up. If you need to sleep again until the evening time to get yourself into that rhythm as quickly as possible. So I hope those tips have been helpful for you. I'm Jen DeTracy, the founder of Women Thriving with MS. I'm doing this travel series. So excited. It's been many years since I've traveled to Europe, and I'm pumped. So I'll be keeping you posted on my journey as a woman who lives with MS and traveling to Europe with all these variables of diet and time zones and energy and, life. Be sure to click that subscribe button below if you haven't already. Click the bell to be notified. I'm Jen DeTracy, and I will see you soon.